Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendment of reconsideration of the pool reopening under new business. And I guess it's qualified under old business. It would have to be under old business. Okay, that's right. And my second is in office right now.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye. So it'll be 2 and 2.
So it doesn't pass. You guys had better wait.
Can we wait for Darwin?
Since Darwin's actually meeting this week,
I think he went to go grab the stuff.
so.
No,
I know
that's
it's
like that. He doesn't really know their own time. Looks like a couple swimmers.
We're waiting on one of our other counselors. We're not just waiting at you, we're staring at you guys. You're waiting for me. I'm always late.
There's some minutes already in the board over here. Start counting.
Yes.
And I'd also recommend you guys, you accidentally left on the comprehensive thing you dealt with last, that's still on the thing, so you may wanna,
I was told to leave that. Because anything under old business that has not been passed has to stay on there.
it was remanded.
It was remanded.
Okay,
Yeah, so I would make the suggestion that if you guys are going to do an amended agenda, that you remove that one as well.
Nikki, would you like to start over?
yeah, so I will make a motion to add, reconsideration of opening the pool under old business and removing, considering ordinance 776.
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. Okay. We'll go to public comment. Citizens may address the council on items on the agenda or not on the agenda. Out of respect for the council and others in attendance, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. State your name and address.
This will be really brief. This is just a notice for you guys. My name is Kevin Winter, 1043 South 4th Street. I have accepted a position on the Lakeview Community Partnership Board of Directors. That does not mean I will ever speak in favor or against a proposal from LCP for money from either the town or the county. I also continue my position as a reporter, as a neutral observer. Any questions?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I thought he was leaving the meeting.
Let's go on with this. So we've got a long day.
Anybody else? So this one.
Okay, no more public comment?
Yeah, so this is the public comment period for any subject matter for that matter.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go to old business. Considered ordinance.
No, that one got taken off.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Would you like me to start with that one, since it's kind of been my little project?
Well, and we also have other information that needs to be brought in as well.
Okay. So, obviously, phase 2, the governor has allowed pools to reopen playgrounds, which was something else I had on my agenda, but that's been addressed today. So our concerns when we discussed it about a month ago was hiring the lifeguards, training the lifeguards due to limitations with lifeguard training.
That's part of it.
Part of it, that's just, I got it all. So I'll start with that. I have found, now that it is completely allowed to have lifeguard training, a company, I've enclosed quotes for you guys. There's a couple things about this company. One, they are Oregon, I think Michelle's copy of it for you guys. It is Oregon state approved, and there's a couple benefits to this. This company, they use it in Hillsborough, Ashland, bigger municipalities. They do part online and part in person. So we normally have a week-long in person. It's pretty darn exhausting, I've done it myself. This allows them to do online at their leisure, and then they do 2 days in the pool for the competency test, so to speak, and the practical skills application.
What about first aid?
That's included, it's all inclusive. So what's really neat about this is that it's pretty much the same cost we pay annually, but it's over a shorter, lesser cost for the second year, every other year. But in the long run, we can save even more money because they will actually train somebody to be a lifeguard trainer here. I have one person who has volunteered to do that, who is currently a coach and a lifeguard as well, certified. Every other year, we have to send her to Eugene for the recertified, but that gives us a local person, which is huge, because we always have to get somebody from Klamath to come over here, pay the hotel and all that stuff. In addition, it allows a lower cost for the lifeguards at $50 a lifeguard. However, on your recertification year, it's like $35 because you don't have to have the book again because it's online. It also allows the online recertification. It's a 2-year license. There's also an a la carte option that does not require the lifeguard trainer portion. Gives us some service if we want that, we haven't had before, so we may or may not want that. But in the long run, actually will save us money moving forward in the future years, because of the fact that I think we roughly would pay $3,000 a year for a trainer, and this will actually save us money in the long run, which we need to do. So that's the first aspect. I've got some mock schedules of how we can, and this is only for the public pool, not the kiddie pool. I didn't want to bite off, I didn't think we need to bite off too much there, but we can go down to 6 lifeguards, which gives us a couple extras on call, covering shifts, spread the wealth between the 5-day schedule I have proposed. We currently have 6 lifeguards that are willing to return that are already certified, so that would actually eliminate any certification requirements. I've spoken with all of them, and I believe they've all spoken with their parents. Plus, we have several others interested in getting trained if we want to go with a 7 to 8 person schedule. My proposal is Tuesday through Saturday, noon to 8. Obviously, we're not doing swim lessons. We're not doing swim team. We're not doing mom and tot. Got it.
Or swim lessons, period.
Yes, swim lessons. So in that, to accommodate the older people 18 and over, catch myself there. Water aerobics and lap swimmers, where they have their adult time. There's been a lot of requests for lap swim for our swim team kids, essentially. Not organized by the swim team, but them individually coming in. I think there's some ideas where we could do half a swimming pool of laps if we have the numbers. I know our big issue in the past is the cost of the lifeguard versus the number of people that come for lap swim doesn't pay for the lifeguard. And I know our big concern this year is obviously money, along with the maintenance issues. But that's why if we do it during a night swim, or we do 3 days a week lap swim in the evenings for under 18, or if we, I've got numerous ideas on that one.
So can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So how is the lap swim fair for other kids to be in there to do that when all the other kids in town wanna thrive and do swim lessons?
How is the lap swim fair for
How is
them?
that fair for some of those kids to do lap swim and not get to do swim lessons? Other kids are gonna see that, parents are gonna see that and say, okay, these kids that are on swim team,
Well, it's not just swim team, I should say it's swimmers in general, but,
okay.
I mean, the swim team is some of those kids that I know want to go.
I'm just saying that as a parent, if I were to look at it, I would be like, okay, these kids get to go lap swim, what about the kids that wanna learn how to swim or that need to learn how to swim?
So a lot of modification has to be made this year due to COVID, so
Right.
even if we open the pool, swim lessons wouldn't be an option the state guideline allows. That's
You can't social distance.
But even swim team, when they said stuff on swim team, Kate Brown, only 2 swimmers that are on swim team can swim in a 6-lane pool.
No, it's,
No, that's
I've
not-
attached
that's
the
not-
guidelines here, the OHA, they came out with them about 3 days ago. So, I know even though they,
Is that the size of each pool? Cause all pool sizes are
It
different.
doesn't
so
matter
I'm
on
just curious.
size, it's based on laps and things like that and there's actually not an occupancy and a spacing requirement with OHA and the governor's office for pools, cause it's an outdoor space. Our pool, based on our experience and state standard of 1 lifeguard to 40 swimmers, we typically have no more than 80. If we had higher numbers, which would be great because nobody can go do anything this year and that would actually bring us additional revenue. That's why my schedule, I've got kind of an A group and a B group that can switch, so we have 8 potential lifeguards instead of just 4, so we can accommodate if we happen to get 120 kids, which we don't have, but
Well, the Oregon State
yeah.
authority that we
OHA,
when I talked to the lady from Red Cross today, she had stated that you can only have, we have a 6-lane pool, we can only have 6 kids in at a time for 45 minutes at a time.
if there's not a time limit, so I don't know who Red Cross, I'm going off OHA.
Well, I'm just going by Red Cross because she's on the board of
Yeah.
all the swim pools in the Portland metro area.
Yeah, I'm going off OHA's standard, they do not have, there is a 1 lane, 1 person per lane
So
standard.
we'll have to verify that.
And we have to, yeah, and there's, I mean, it's growing pains.
What about, from what I was reading earlier on some of this, that they wanna swim, they have to make an appointment to go swim.
That's not true. I've not read
That's what I read.
it.
Well, I think it's-
The governor's,
What I think is really interesting about all the conversation that we're having on everything that we've been shoved down our throats from the government to help flatten the curve and to keep people safe, their guidelines. I mean, that this is not law, like we
But
govern
they're finding
ourselves.
people.
They're not gonna find us on this. And they would probably give us a warning first if they did, and, we're gonna figure this out. And we continue to open up, we're not going backwards, hopefully. I would imagine there's a few people in the room who'd like to speak to this further. I'd love to hear more of them. Nikki has been spending a ton of time on this.
No one spoke during the public comment.
I know, but if it's on our agenda, they can speak to this.
We can speak to it now.
Yeah, they can speak to the item on the agenda. There's no difference to that. So, one of the things that, just want to point out, Michelle sent us an email about this topic, and the numbers, this pool's always lost this money. People have to realize that. This pool is like most of our departments. Most of our departments are losing money. Water and sewer pays for itself because of water and sewer bills. But the town hall, other departments, planning, I mean, these things don't pay for themselves. They cost us money. When you hire staff, you're gonna always lose. You're not gonna bring in the revenue for that staff in any one position. So this is an asset of the community, which they pay taxes for. So if it loses money, it loses money. But this can be a revenue maker, and it can't obviously make any revenue if we're gonna stay closed. In years past, we generated roughly $20,000 in revenue, and our costs are usually around 60. So, to me, I appreciate the work that you're doing on this. I know everything is changing daily, but this is kind of what I'm going back to really quickly. We need to try to continue to get that sense of normalcy, get people out there enjoying the sun, where flus usually don't happen in, real bad sicknesses don't happen during the summer when you're out in the open air, fresh air, and enjoying yourself. So, we can train the lifeguards to be cleaning things up and taking care of stuff. I think this is an excellent step forward. I know we need to look at, all departments and how we manage them, and I think, this is a step forward that needs still to be looked at a little bit further and to build up, but I'm supportive of trying to get back to getting this pool open, and I know we've applied for a grant, but there's a very high likelihood that we won't get approved for that grant this year. The state is showing huge deficits in revenue, that are, losses there, so if we're gonna lose money at the state level, they're not gonna be kicking out grants right now. I mean, that's kind of the opposite of what we would be doing.
I don't think
So-
we were supposed to we weren't supposed to be doing
No.
that until.
No.
Yeah, and it's not even past the season, so my only point to bring that up is that we wanted we're applying for grants to upgrade the pool and especially the clubhouse there. But at the same time, the pool's probably in the same state it was before.
It's worse.
Each year, I'm not sure if that was, we didn't winterize it or what, but I mean,
Definitely more
should have been about the same as.
how bad that pool is.
Yeah, so, I've spoken plenty, I don't wanna really speak more to this, other than if we were to vote to open it. But I believe, and Jeff can correct me on this, but if it's an agenda item, people came to talk about a specific general agenda item, they don't fall under public comment. Public comments, 3 minutes for something usually off of our agenda.
Well, what do we do about, getting the pool fixed up? I mean, we've got plumbing issues up there, it needs to be completely washed and painted inside, the bathrooms need to be redone. The roof, it needs a new roof really bad.
And we've known, so here's my thoughts on that. We all know it needs it, it's needed it forever. We don't have the funds to even do that this year. We have a
Michelle's
plan
working
for-
on finding the funds.
I understand that, but never that I have known, granted, I haven't lived here as long as most people, have we ever done renovations on the pool during summer? It's
No,
always
and it
done
needs to be done,
prior to or after, and we have to secure contractors.
2 times a year to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really say wants to work in the warm weather, but we have to secure contractors, put RFPs, nothing would even happen for 2 to 3 months for any of the stuff that's gonna require a contractor, given time, if you get a contractor that's available in 2 to 3 months. You
Well,
know?
if we do get one and they wanna come work on it, they won't work on it. with
I
people in the
can guarantee you're not
So-
gonna have time with an RFP out there to do it in 2 to 3 months.
Depends on who you know.
Well, there's legal laws we have to follow, and it's over $10,000 worth of repairs, so I can't.
Well, most of the stuff that's been brought up that needs fixed is gonna happen under a grant. I mean, we'll never find enough to re-roof that in 1 year, or to, plumbing, some of it's probably fairly minor, can be under, 5,000-10,000. If we're talking about redoing that whole clubhouse plumbing, that's obviously not gonna be something we undertake this year, it was never intended to do that this year. So the little things probably could be done, I don't see the reason to repaint this year. Again, I wanted to go up there, wasn't able to get the time to do that, but, it closed in August and it's probably similar to what it was in August. I mean, I can't imagine it being all that different than it was in August, but.
And I think similar to the situation we dealt with on Tuesday, we, as a town council, are extremely receptive to the public comment and the public input. We want the public input. And the public has said they want this pool open. When they found out that it was closed, there was people upset over it. We work for the public. So if the majority of the public says, hey, Nikki, I really want this open, I'm gonna push that because that's who we serve. And I think that we need to do justice by our public, our community, and open that pool for them. People at their discretion can use it or not. There's ways to do contract tracing, which is a requirement. We have to have a sign-in sheet, which we should have had all these years anyways. Pool passes are kept on our side. There's cleaning of bathrooms, all of this stuff that, one, should have been done on a normal year. 2, let's get in there and really start some good habits this year, so that next year they're even better when we have this beautiful, hopefully new pool house. But there are no restrictions here that I can't see we can't meet.
And we'll share, Nikki will share obviously the stuff that she's
Yeah,
gathered,
you
and
guys,
we can read over it. This simple handout that was put out by the governor's office and Oregon Health is a simple thing that talks about what the limits are for outdoor licensed pool. It's like max of 100 people. I've never been to the pool, and there's been 100 people in that pool. other than during a swim meet, which we're obviously not gonna be able to have this year. Unless the other,
And also another additional
Additional
revenue I have
changes.
in mind is pool rentals on Sunday and Mondays, because there's nowhere to go right now for a party. So, I think we have people that may potentially rent it. In the past, we've rented it for $200 for 2 hours, up to 40 people. If we had 2 lifeguards, it would pay for itself and actually make money, which would be nice. And we'll get you guys a copy. This is some mock schedules I kind of worked up with 6 people, 8 people type thing, and how we can rotate them. I think that was pretty much all I had.
Any comments?
Well, I'd like to hear the comments from people here if they are any comments.
Go ahead. Stand up and come up here.
Dave Sassman. I think that we need to reopen. And I think most of us here do. I think that the state was shut down incorrectly anyway. And so to sit here and worry about all this little crap that, there's people rioting, protesting, burning buildings down. Governor Brown doesn't seem to give a crap about that. And so I know that I get a little hot about this issue, but we need to open up in a little town like Lakeview with really no cases and the things that you can do and you can't do. You can't go to church, you can't do certain things. It's a bunch of phony baloney good time rock and roll crap. And I think the sooner we get open, it sends a message that Lakeview can do it and can be normal. So I think instead of throwing up roadblocks, do the best you can, and I think we all support you.
My name's Connie Matthews. My thing is these kids are gonna find something to do, and the odds are we're gonna pay for it anyway. So I would prefer that we spend our tax money on repairing and doing whatever's necessary for the pool, so they can use that instead of tagging buildings or vandalizing or getting in trouble with law enforcement at any cost. The other thing about it is my question is if this stuff is maintenance, why is it being brought up in June? The government, there's been nobody doing a thing for months and months and months. And this stuff should have been addressed in September. It's scheduled maintenance. That pool's been there for a long, long time.
I know that.
Everybody knows what's necessary. The community's not aware that they can't open because of maintenance or lack of mechanical function. We were told it was because of COVID. So, which
That's
is
part
it?
of it.
Part of the other part was very sure.
I'll go paint.
Amy Hussey, all of that you talked about with the maintenance of the pool has been going on for years. That, as far as we know, and it's nothing new, although we definitely need it to be done, and Michelle is definitely working on that grant, we know that, but we know it's not gonna come through this year. And every year, it comes down to this time when all maintenance starts getting done. And we, as the swim team, board, have wanted to start earlier, but because of COVID, we didn't. We understand that. We understand that maintenance needs to be done. But all these problems have existed for years, and unless you can get a contractor in, and you could also get a contractor in and close the pool for a few days and do some work on that needs to be done. Or I would be willing to get down there anytime and start working on it, as well as I'm sure a lot of people would be.
Absolutely.
So, I would advocate to open it up. And yes, it is a money loser. It always has been and always will be. It's a service for the community, and we need to continue that.
Anybody else?
Christy Harrington. I think at this time in life, we all know how hard it is for us as adults, but I think sometimes we forget about the consequences that our children are having. A lot of the times we don't see that because they hold that back. But the mental health of our community is really important, and you guys have a chance right here to help better that. Our kids need to be able to get out and do something productive. We have a whole population of children who have not been seen for months. And this is a population of children that if they're not seen, child abuse is not being reported. And these these kids are living in lockdown. And so you also have to look at that side of things too, that this may be an opportunity where children can get back out again, and those things may be reported again, and we may save a life. It goes beyond this little room. The health of our community, this is something that you guys can make a huge impact in by opening back up, because our kids need something. Their mental health is suffering, even in families where they're stable and their parents are stable and they're well loved. Our kids are not doing well at all. And this is a place where they can have an outlet, they can see their kids again, they can feel normal again. And I think that's an opportunity you guys have to really look at.
Jennifer Stevens. I agree with what Chris is saying as far as the mental health goes. I get the pool houses needs repair, I understand that, but most of the time the kids aren't in there anyway, they're swimming. So we can shut that down unless they have to go to the bathroom, or they can use the outside bathrooms. Most of them don't take showers before they get in the pool because the water's freezing cold anyway, which I get, that needs to be worked on. But the mental health and teaching kids how to swim. We have lakes, rivers all over around here, and they're gonna go out there and swim in them, and they're not gonna know how to swim because they're not gonna have swim lessons, they're not gonna have a swim team. These kids need to exercise. I mean, I had a little girl last night tell me, Miss Jen, I know how we can have the recital. We can just put a rock in our hand and pretend like we're protesting because we have a rock in our hand, and then we can all be together. We can have a big group together. So, I mean, the kids are seeing this, and they need some exercise. I understand with the pool and all the maintenance that needs to be done, but Nikki's correct as far as getting a contractor and getting the bids out, and it's not gonna be done next month or the next month after that. I think it's very important to find a way, if we can at all, to open it up for these kids.
Kelly Bacon. In addition to everything everybody has already said, and that I would like to echo, when we employ teenagers as lifeguards, we have an opportunity to teach them life skills, money management, and other, varying responsibilities that they can take out into other communities. And so really, it's not just benefiting the kids in the pool, it's benefiting these young adults. And the kids that aren't, going off to college in the fall, they have an opportunity to take these responsibilities that they've learned and carry them into their schools, which is only gonna benefit this community in the long run as well.
Mark Suba, I echo everybody's sentiments as far as supporting the pool to reopen. The pool's been a staple in this community as long as I can remember, and I agree with Councilman Johnson's sentiments. What's coming down from the governor are guidelines, they're not regulations. And I've read in the paper that the only reason why the pool was not gonna open was because of the lifeguard situation, not getting the certifications, okay? Obviously, thanks to Councilwoman Taylor, that seems to be addressed. So rather than looking at ways not to open it, let's look at the ways to open it. You guys there was talk about getting rid of the wading pool down at the kiddie park and putting in a splash pad. Well, if we don't have the money to take care of that pool, why are we looking at other projects like this wading pool? Let's prioritize and let's take care of the things that need to be taken care of.
That was another grant that she applied for that park down there.
Okay.
Can I ask what the opposition is for the two council members that don't want to open the pool?
I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing.
Why do you not want the pool open, the
It's
council
not that
members
I don't want it open, I want it repaired and brought up looking better and make it even better and a lot less maintenance for anybody to have to work on. But if we open up the pool and something happens up there, then we're just gonna have to close the pool down and start from scratch.
There's some safety issues with the electrical up there.
Like someone will die?
Big issues.
Possibly.
That's important to know.
We got some
Big
breaker
issues.
boxes up there that are rusted through, and if a kid gets in and around them and gets his finger in the wrong place, it could be a problem.
Can we organize a little bit so that maybe we could get a local electrician to volunteer some time or fundraise for these
We're
things?
working on it.
Cause I don't think it's in the public's, no.
I haven't been back up there, but we do need to make a list of what needs to be done up there. The building is in pretty bad shape. Yes,
Okay, have you put out something to the public asking for help?
we have not yet
Okay,
at
yeah,
this point,
I'm
but
saying.
we are organized, working at, the big thing that we've worked on right now has been our budget.
Right,
And once our budget gets done, we'll be able to move forward with those other things.
cause I think we have a fairly deep contract pool. A lot of people who would maybe be willing to help
Mhm.
with some of the issues
And that's
that
what
you
we're hoping
have.
for.
Okay,
That's what we're
Because-
hoping for.
I see two contractors right here and different things that could be utilized that maybe wouldn't normally if we had the money, if you had the money that you
Right.
needed. But sometimes you have to go beyond that and ask for some help. And
My
that
biggest
might be-
concern is honestly the electrical that's up there. I've seen some pictures of what's up there and it doesn't look good.
But from my understanding, it's the same thing we saw last year.
It
I mean,
is,
you add a little
it is,
wear and
but
tear,
when,
but it's.
it is, but when is enough enough? Do we wait till a kid gets electrocuted
I
and
totally
killed?
understand
Or
that.
do we address the issue?
Can it be
And
patched?
that's kind of where it's
No.
coming
No
to.
patching?
Well, I think,
No,
I
the
don't,
boxes need to be.
Like,
I don't live in town, but I have grandchildren and I have children in school and stuff, and I do think these kids have fewer things to do than in many towns. And this is one of the things that we do have that they can do. And these kids, having been home all this time, desperately need an
They're getting a
outlet.
little crazy.
And I hate to see an outlet taken away from them with everything else that's gone on and I'm a grandmother, I mean, I have 5 kids that are here and 5 grandchildren, I'll say. Anyway, but I hate to see something taken away from them, especially at this time, when things are fairly desperate.
No, and I understand that. I've got kids here too. I'm trying to get a hold of Joe McIntosh because I'd like for him to look at what the issue that we have down there before I honestly make a decision. Because the last thing I want to do is see one of those kids get electrocuted. Because there's a lot of power that runs through the bottom of that building to run the pool pumps and everything else. And the last thing I want to see is kids will be kids, especially boys, and they end up in areas where they're not supposed to be, and I don't want to see somebody get hurt.
And I understand
That's my
that.
biggest hesitation.
But I guess my other thing is that why wasn't this noticed before?
It's been brought to my attention recently.
Where is the electrical issue? Is it down underneath the pool? Is that what you're talking
It's,
about?
Biggest part of it's under the pool deck, yeah.
Under the pool deck?
And we had an inspection about
That's
10 or
in the
12
office?
years ago.
That's part of it, but it's not the ones that has.
They highly recommended we replace all the panels that were down there. And we got together with Starks Electric. They were gonna order the parts and then the money ran short. I wasn't involved with the process. Ray Sims was doing it. And it just never happened, and here it is, it's 12 years later. And it was already, it never got red tagged that you can't use it, but it was highly recommended that all those panels get replaced. And, they're from the 50s, so.
I can tell you if it gets inspected now, it will get red tag.
So, but that right
And-
there,
and
there's
you
also
know
another, there's also another electrician in town that would, I'm sure would be willing to.
Carl Tracy, and I'm
come in.
talking to him also.
Yeah.
Is Sam around?
Right, because those guys have always come.
He's
Michael
not right
still
now, but
has
he's
his.
probably home.
Michael still has his.
He's not working.
And he's a swim team guy.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
so
a letter
both
from
Michael
him.
and Chris have been
Yeah,
down
they've
there.
been great.
Multiple times.
I actually think Michael Sturt's letter. He did write a letter in support of opening. I have one from him, Ryan and Caleb had, Linda Conroy. But I do want to be fair, because I see both sides of it, I do. And I grew up in the swimming pool every year. I had a working mother, that's where I lived. You pay for an annual pass, in California, you get a little more sunshine, so you use it 9 months of the year. And when I moved back home to Corvallis, indoor pool. So for me, that is my happy place. My children are the same way, so I definitely think it's a lot of kids' happy place. But I understand the opposition. I wanna share because I know that not everybody could be here. You know, one of the concerns was maintenance. Jeff just even said, 12 years ago, these maintenance issues were there. We would never choose the summer to pick to repair these maintenance issues on something that our taxpayers are paying for. We've never redone the pool during the summer seasons, we've never resurfaced it, we've never painted during the summer seasons, we've never rebuilt the entire pool during the summer season. It's always an off season.
They actually did repaint the pool just before the pool started.
Yes, but not during our open hours, our open season, which we are technically, this would be the week the kids get out of school. The following week is the week we've always trained and open the following week after that. So,
Well, school's actually out later this year, so our trainings were in May. Only because I scheduled them.
well, you're not in the pool in May.
Just saying that we normally
Yeah.
do our training.
Our in-house
May.
training,
Yeah.
not our
And,
lifeguard.
In the climate, they go usually,
We
they usually do
train,
get training.
cause I've always
They
been
go over a
trained here.
weekend.
Cause it goes the first week into June and then we open up because we always open as soon as that following Monday after school.
Not
That's
the
why it's
following,
coming
always
Monday.
the following Monday, but, I mean, I've had the lifeguard training here, I've never actually done. And I'm not sure if that's in the past that they've done that, but this is a suitable situation where we have 2 days of a person who's available next week to come. His schedule is actually extremely open. And to do the training and the online, obviously, as any
Who
time
is the
that,
trainer?
Scott James with Stargard. He said it would more than likely be him. He's in Eugene. There is a Finn gal as well, but his schedule's open. And I think the maintenance stuff is, one, we need to have it already pre-planned in our budget. We haven't done that. And I would like to do things the right way and have a plan set out and know where we're going with it. I don't wanna repair a patch on a roof if we're gonna tear the whole thing off next year. We need to really plan this out. And I know we are, and I know, but we haven't even as a council got to discuss the pool stuff aside from, I know Michelle's worked really hard on grants and has some great concepts. But as a council, we haven't discussed our ideas for the future of the pool. So I think that, while the opportunity presented itself to use this time, I don't think we're gonna get the contractors the funds to fix the things that need to be repaired. If it doesn't pass inspection by the state licensor, that's one thing. If we have to close down because the state of Oregon says you can't have your pool open anymore, that's another thing. If we have to close down because we have all our lifeguards or however many short-staffed because of COVID, that's another thing. But we closed the pool because of COVID. That was.
Those the other things were involved with that too.
I mean,
the maintenance thing.
there was some, but that wasn't
That
the
was-
primary
But at the
concern.
time, it was that, and that is still a problem because it is not going away and,
The maintenance was COVID.
the COVID
You said the COVID?
is not going away.
Yeah,
It's growing by leaps and bounds all around the country, and so it is, still, I think, we feel relatively safe here because we haven't had very many cases, but I think that could change in a big hurry.
So can I ask a
quickly?
question about the electrical? So when everybody pulled together and redid the pool and all of that, you know, everything was restructured and redone. I just wondered why other things were not, I mean, why wasn't the electrical,
I think
something so critical that was to help keep it warm and do everything else, why wasn't that part of
we were,
the
there
whole
was only so
rebuilding,
much
why
money
you had
to
to tear it
do
apart?
things with, and that's, we, you know, it was a big drive to, when Mike Patrick was mayor, and to do that. And, it was really hard getting people, to donate, and we had enough money to do what we did, and it was,
but didn't we do the pool renovation? Wouldn't that have included the electrical when we did a huge renovation and redid the pool?
Because I thought if you had it all torn apart, why weren't you?
I just feel like it's all of a sudden a major issue that was not a major issue.
concurred.
Or
Can I say something? I want the best for both sides, and I'm neutral either way. If the pool needs to be open, then we'll make it happen. But when I went up there and took photographs, and I've been kind of scrolling through, these are the conditions that your children
are in.
We were in them for
We're
40
all
years.
very well.
Exact same thing.
Bill's.
And why that's not shocking to you,
It,
I don't understand.
Oh, sure.
Well, we redid something, I mean, we got some painting done
I
last year.
understand.
It's all about the
So-
money.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Council hasn't approved. And gold is another problem up there, which is
Swim,
hazardous.
swim
to a lot of
team goes to
people.
multiple towns that have the same exact problem. Their pool houses look very similar, to ours, unfortunately. And
And
so that's why we're not in shock. It's, we see it everywhere.
You're not in the pool house is the point, I think, and if we could walk those kids around and you could tell them, please shower before you come.
What,
There are lots of little things that can
And that pool
happen.
house is minimally used. I go to that pool lot, walk through it.
And you can
Not
have,
once have I ever pre-showered, yes, I'm one of those, okay, because it grosses me out to touch floors, but.
and I did review the guidelines through Health Authority, and that is one of the suggestions they're making is don't
Yes.
have any on-site showers, don't have any changing, everybody comes, what
We
they're
can do
in
that.
and leaves.
Most people know
So
that.
that is an option that Board of Health Authority is recommending, is if you guys decide to do something or not, that is a mechanism.
Don't they require the bathroom?
There you go.
Because I remember reading they required it, I believe, 2 stalls.
Couldn't you have porta potties?
Toilets? Well, we have the part.
So-
Just don't use the pool house. Close it. Close the pool house.
And
And
I
open the pool.
You guys are talking about issues that we had in August when you closed.
Exactly.
In January,
But I
we were
wasn't
planning
there in
on
August.
opening.
And I will say, because Michelle wasn't here, and I mean, Michelle here, honestly, there's no doubt that all of those issues would have been addressed had she been in that position that she's in now.
That's the whole thing, a lot of and she is addressing them, and it is a shock. When you first come to that pool house, it is definitely a shock.
I walk down there.
And you just get desensitized to it.
And that's the thing that I wanna point out is that as a city or as a town, I want better for everybody. I want better for our kids. I want them to know better.
Same
and they
situation.
will, it's just that
I get
they
it.
can't sit at home doing nothing around
And
the community.
y'all passed a small amount of money to re-roof, to power wash and paint.
$10,000.
Correct. And if all we can do is get in there and power wash and paint, then we need to do it.
Or just the
Amen.
Or we
Or just the
decide
electric.
what we wanna do, but as this is right now,
It's the same situation with the water. We all know it's bad, but we're working towards fixing it.
I
And
get
nobody
it,
accepts it.
I understand, and I just wanna say that
Hey, I lived in Edgemont, South Dakota, and I lived on the Hoopa Indian Reservation. When I came here, I thought it looked like the Taj Mahal. I thought it looked nice.
Well, one thing is Mrs. Newcomb had a good point, and based on what Mr. Headland said about the CDC guidelines as far as, not using shower facilities and all that stuff, there's a gate right there. She mentioned just close the pool house, the kids come in, they pay, they go right through the gate.
absolutely.
So they're not even being exposed to that.
Where are we gonna put all our lifeguards?
In the office, where only lifeguards go,
Or give them a
How can you
tent.
close the pool house?
you literally just have that room down.
Just close the pool.
So,
I'll donate a canopy
Right there.
for out
so
front.
what I'd like to see is because after our council meeting on Tuesday, I loved that. I thought it was amazing that we could have opposing sides still try to find a solution. And if the community is willing to put in volunteer hours, then let's do it. If the community wants to donate money, then do it. And it's coming up as it is right now because our budget is a mess. I see something down the road and even presently that we can update. I mean, we should be able to update a little bit. And if we can't, then there's something really, 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 really wrong systematically.
and we need to fix it. And it's not just about the pool. It's about systemically, we need to fix our town. And I want you to tell me how to do that.
I think we need a plan in place.
We've
A bold
never
plan.
had a plan,
No.
we've never had ever in our budget that I have been able to see anywhere where money has been allocated for continuous improvement. Never.
System development charges
And-
for waters and that's it.
And if that were the case, if someone had the foresight of, the pool's gonna be used next year and the year after and the year after and the year after and the year after, how do we make it good every year? Well, maybe we cement, even if it's 4 little squares of cement that we budget, that's 4 better pieces of cement that our kids aren't tripping on. If it's to bring in 1 new toilet, then that's 1 new toilet, and the next year's another one, and the next year's another one. But we need to stop sometime and say, something's wrong. How do we fix moving forward? Because we wanna live here more than a year, more than 2 years, more than 5, more than 10. And we are at a place right now, when I walk around town, our sidewalks are falling apart. Everywhere, from end to end, they're coming up, that we have no, whatever those are called, the curb. We have no curbs, and we need downtown businesses, and we need new housing, and our school needs to be, we've got a problem. And we need to get a plan. And if you have ideas, tell me. I will fix things. I'll write a grant, I'll do whatever I can, we'll get maintenance in here, we'll do forward thinking. It's not just about the pool. And I want more for everybody. And if we wanna put together volunteers, great, let's do it.
I think
But whatever it is.
100% agree with you. We would not close the sidewalks because they're in such disrepair, and that's what gets me is, we know it's in disrepair, but the 2 months out of the entire year we get to use it. And after everything else that's going on.
But the timeline was, COVID knocked us all on our butts, right? I mean, how many people were in their house freaking out? I was. Our whole world changed upside down. I was crying because I could feel that we were in a major paradigm shift. People were gonna lose everything.
Well, who told you this?
My own head.
No, I think some news may have told you
Well, yeah,
that.
the whole world says that.
No.
I think,
Okay,
But that's my opinion, and that's
because I
my,
was never worried about it,
but I was, and
but I wasn't.
and as I'm thinking about it, that's when the decision came down, that's the timeline. So have things changed? Yes. And so here we are.
What I would like to do, because my biggest concern is the electrical, and that's why I'm opposed to this. I do feel the kids need something to do. My wife works at the school, so I hear about it all the time, what's going on, trust me. And we have a lot of extra kids at our house because school's not in session, and my wife gets along and loves all those kids that she works with. We need to have that electrical inspector to make sure it's safe. And if it's safe, I'm all for it. I just don't wanna see somebody get hurt.
So how do we go about that?
I'm got phone calls into Joe McIntosh now. I called him earlier today, and I'll call Carl Tracy as soon as we're done with this meeting.
And I can almost bet
Or
you
we can get the
because,
building inspector to go over, Ken possibly, the building inspector go over.
or Michael Starr, all of those people you've named, I don't know who Macintosh is.
Okay.
All of them either have kids on the swim team, have kids that are swimmers, or utilize pool by family passes. I can guarantee we can make that happen quickly
Mhm.
and move forward.
Within a week, I'm sure we could
Yeah.
have somebody in there look at that
Because-
and make sure it's safe. That's my biggest concern with pool. I mean, there's a lot of concerns with pool, as we all know. But the biggest concern is water, electricity is not mixed.
But we can have that looked at, and with the 10,000 that we've already said, 10,000 would be more than enough to get it to a
If that will get it to a
safe
safe point, then I'm all
And I
for
think
it.
a lot of the things we're talking about are unsafe, but also can be club out or something like that. Here's kind of what I'm thinking, is if we were to go this route, we could call prior lifeguards, who's still got one year of certification, yeah. So there's probably more than enough to start within a couple of weeks, and that would allow still enough time to get started. Maybe we just say, look, let's go July, that 4th weekend, and we have, it's open, I mean, there's gonna be less opportunity for people to do things in the community probably than normal on July 4th. Probably not a lot going on up to fairgrounds and stuff. But I don't wanna throw a monkey wrench into this, but I had thought prior on our lodging tax situation, and tourism dollars can be spent towards,
Our care.
yes, and they can be spent towards, facilities and things like this. And my thought on all this is that if we were to put any bit that we have left, and I was searching for my budget, so I moved out of my binder, but I know the number on the pool, what we project to generate in revenue, it's 20,000 a year. That's what it's always been since I've been on this council, 20,000 is what, and sometimes we're close and sometimes we're barely over that. If we took 20, I know, but we've always, 6 years, 7 years on the council, and that's what it's been. So,
No, I know that.
so what I would say is if we want to use that money wisely, we could, and this is the extreme thing I'm not really sure I want to announce, and even just say as an option, but just say the pool is free for community residents, Lake County residents, if you're paying, or even outside of our community, because that is a justification to use it for tourism, to bring people outside of our community into our county. And they can easily say, yes, we stay, you could say the if is if you stay at a hotel or something in town, and that helps bring revenue back in because of hotel stays and all the reasons using it. So that might be extreme. I don't even think we need to go there. We have already budgeted for.
We went there, sorry.
I didn't even bring up the next
It's a great idea.
But again, if we brought up concessions, which is something.
We can't do, I found out about that extra fence. We have to have 8 feet from the pool.
Alright,
So I think if you sold discount passes this year, that I think would be a big hit. Because I think more people would buy a discounted pass, plus you're talking about restrictions that they're gonna have to follow anyways, so I do, I think historically, like ski resorts that sell passes for discounted prices, they sell way more because they are discounted, so I think that might be an idea to bring in more money. I think you bring in more money by doing
Guaranteed
that.
revenue.
Yeah.
But on your point, I won't guarantee it, but I would really assume that a civic group would pick up the tab for passes for kids who can't afford them. That free thing is amazing, because most kids are really limited to their use of the pool because their families can't afford it.
And there's a gentleman in the diner.
Scott Utley, just a little comment. I think it would be a great thing to have like a work party and bring the kids in to help. You've seen it with the high school kids and the planters out there. When I was in high school, we went to the high school and we helped do stuff. We built the new emergency services building down there with all volunteer labor. Basically, they're vested. The kids are invested in the community, and you saw tagging and vandalism drop because they were there. They helped put this on the map, and and everybody likes free.
I mean, I would be willing to step up and help with this issue, if I could get some volunteers to help me.
And
I think we need to tell the community what you need.
Yeah.
And what can be given, and the professionals in the community can't offer help
What's that?
if they don't know
If
what's
they don't know
needed.
what they need.
But if they knew what they would need, I'm sure there's many wonderful professionals in the community that would say, I can volunteer my labor for this, and somebody else might say, well, I'll donate this much
X amount
money
of
to go
dollars
towards
product.
the boxes, but we need to know what you need
I think
before we
we
can
need
step up
to
and say,
start-
I can do that.
Start a small committee with a couple of council members and a few people from the community. To sit down and work these things through in the next, few days,
Monday night
next
is
week
one
or
of
so.
those.
Because
We'll
right
take a
now, we
group
could
and
talk
go up
about
on
this
Monday
all
night.
night and we have a budget meeting coming up, so, it's a good idea and I think a lot of things can be worked out that way more quickly than tonight, right here.
Yeah,
Scott,
I'm
you
gonna,
wanna head up that
I
committee?
will, yes, I will. I will.
Okay,
Mayor,
I
Yes.
would,
I have 5 more minutes before budget comes in.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I love what's going on, but we're kind of back to back, so I just
I
wanted
do
to
wanna say
give
one
you.
thing real quick, Michelle.
No, I just wanted to touch it.
The big thing is the electrical. I would like to get somebody to look at it before we make a decision, yes or no, just for the safety of the kids.
So I would,
And I will do my best to have that done by the first part of next week.
so I would like to propose, Mayor, that technically Darwin is the liaison for the pool, that he should head the committee, and obviously is something I'm vested in. I also am willing to volunteer my time to help organize the swimsuit
but the reason,
clothing issue.
Does Darwin have?
reason I have,
Yeah, he just
reason I have Scott was because Scott has a lot of,
I can,
mechanical background
yeah,
and
I
stuff.
can have Scott take this over, but what I think we need to do is vote if these things happen, if we get this in a working condition, then we would hire, or we would reopen. But if they look at it on Monday and say, yeah, you're gonna be fine for this year, we're continuing a process which to me, we could start the ball rolling and say, hey, we'd like to cold call everybody, see who's interested in still lifeguard. If we can get this open, there's no reason to delay this too much. Normal open would have been on Monday. We will have to certify some people, but I would imagine there's enough people to open that now that we, that are certified right now to actually get this open sooner rather than later. But
I'd like to
delaying
get,
this out till mid next week or whatever.
Well, I'll call Joe again between these two.
but I'd like to maybe have another meeting quickly next week with a report from everyone so we can really make the final decision.
Monday,
do a
during the
Monday.
day, somebody can come and look at this. Somebody can give us 10 minutes, 15, whatever, half hour of their time to come and do that. We can pay them to do it, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I think our building official would be more than willing, under these circumstances, to come and look at it. I can't speak for him. But the two of us that worked with him were in the room, and I bet he would do it. So, and obviously, I think, what's our other guy? Gene Duffy would have to
He's
also.
the commercial.
Yeah,
These
he
are
would
the
take a look at it.
electricians.
Yeah, and he normally doesn't come on Mondays, but
He's on medical leave right now.
yeah, so
Let me see if I can get a hold of Joe right after this meeting.
so if we want to do this, scheduling a hearing or scheduling another meeting to, if we didn't want to vote now to, under these circumstances.
I'm
Yeah, so,
I
but
would
next
like-
week,
And then just have the committee meet, or get the electrical thing started.
I'll try to have an answer tonight or when they.
Alright,
If Joe cannot do it, I will volunteer Carl and he will be there Monday.
You wanna
Because
just
he
set
believes
Carl
it's
up?
very important.
Hang on a minute, volunteer. Do you wanna just set Carl up for that now and then just plan on him?
Sure, sure. Just give me your
I'm
number, Scott.
I'm working on another project with Carl, so this will work out well.
So-
Okay, perfect.
perfect. Carl can spend a few
Okay,
minutes looking at it on Monday, during the day. Can we not schedule a meeting for Monday night?
Well, Thursday is 48 hours. I'm just saying, so, never mind.
So if we were to schedule a meeting, we could easily vote on this after it's been looked at, we'd have a report. And what we could also do is take a group of volunteers that we could quickly advertise to meet us on Monday, we're gonna do a walkthrough on what we'd like to see done within the next couple of
Why
weeks.
don't we pass around a sign-up sheet for the people that would like to.
Exactly.
It would be better not to do the walkthrough when we have an electrician on.
No, but if he came during the day, before 5, we could meet in the evening at 6 or whatever, and even as a council, we come together.
alright, hold up a minute now. Yeah.
Yeah.
This does go, how long will it take you guys to get that pool ready to go?
Well, it depends on how much work everybody else does, you know,
Okay,
Did we solve the electrical
How long
issue?
did it fill it? If someone comes.
2 days.
But, I mean, I can
It's
somebody.
gonna be a little cold.
Well,
And
yeah.
again, I wasn't talking about.
Probably about a
Friday.
week.
I was talking about 3 weeks.
Somebody's gonna.
Well,
And higher.
Well, and we need to find out from our insurance as well, through multi-polar.
I can guarantee you, Stargard, since the state board recommends.
If we just need to double check.
Now we're nonprofit, so we have to watch that stuff.
We'll double check. We'll double check.
So
We
I,
will set.
Can we set a meeting for 6 PM on Monday?
This,
I'm good.
with Mayor,
This little girl has a.
Oh, there's a little break, sorry. Go ahead.
So, I haven't been in school for like 3 months, and I haven't seen any of my friends except for online. My best friend, I haven't even seen her, and the pool was gonna be the only way that I could see any of them. And so I'm really hoping that we open the pool, and so, yeah.
Thank you.
There's a budget meeting that night for the school district,
Yeah, I know.
like maybe
Alright,
4.
Can everybody be here at that time?
Well, I actually have school board.
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious.
I think
Oh, we can do it earlier. No, it's
Five?
at 5?
It's at 5:30, I think.
It's at 5:30.
6:37?
Let's do a 4:30.
4:30 would be fine.
Okay,
4:30, plenty of time.
Alright, 4:30 Monday.
Thanks for the line. I knew I had it, I couldn't write it.
Real quick, so I'm Miranda Philibert, and I'm in support of the steering team, but you guys, as you know, the town, really need to communicate with the community about what volunteering needs done if we make this decision to go forward and it's able to volunteer, if you need
10 people.
paint, if you need, sprayers, if you need power washing. I mean, I have a husband that has lots of tools. I'm just saying, and he'd be very happy,
nothing else.
we would be happy to volunteer some things, but what we don't know, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
And some of us are on Facebook.
So,
Exactly.
you
A
know,
lot of this is just to
that's
kind of
just,
clear what's going on, not to interrupt you, Miranda. With Michelle being new, and the budget has been screwed up as it's been, we've concentrated on that, so we
Yeah.
haven't reached out to the public. This
Well,
council that
yeah.
you have sitting here, and the town manager, and everybody in the town right now, we all wanna see a big change in this community. But we've gotta get our feet under us to be able to do that, and the big thing right now is getting our budget done. And once we get our budget done, we are gonna be reaching out to the community to step up and help, because the parks look terrible, the pools are terrible, the sidewalks are terrible. So the more volunteers that we can get, just even in manpower, is gonna make a huge difference for what we can do. And I plan on being very active in that in the next couple of years.
We're gonna be just a little later.
that's okay.
Are you sending around a sign up sheet for volunteers?
Alright.
I can.
Okay.
Nikki's got paper.
Where's your
own pen.
We've got
Yeah,
to move
don't
on.
touch the COVID test.
I'll put it on a.
Council, we have.
She's got a pad. Darn, she's got a pad.
Use the pad, so that.
So we can pass that around.
I'm gonna send it
We-
over.
We rest of our stuff may not want to
stay for.
Alright.
Oh, yeah.
More states and rest of the.
I know.
Hey guys, we gotta get this meeting finished. Alright, you guys.
Mark.
Hey, we still got a meeting, we gotta finish up
Close the
this,
poll.
budget.
We're signing the pictures. They made a decision.
Or stay.
Polls would be in phase 2 until literally 2 days before phase 2 started. Oh, I think it might have been mentioned, but the main issue was, the main reason for the closure was.
Fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the same thing, Red Cross wasn't certified.
That's why I wanted Dennis to be here.
Oh, sorry, Dennis.
We've already been allowed
Seeing that.
what we do.
Thank you, Miranda.
That was make sure it's. Correct. Yeah, and basically,
So you're expecting the fire pits?
yeah, we go down on each one. They call up and want one, we go down, we look at it, then they're good to go from that point on. They just call us.
Is this, now this is for a,
Backyard fire.
backyard fire, not burning trash, It's not.
Right.
For barbecuing, it's
A wood burning fire pit. See, a wood burning,
In
probably a commercial device that you can buy over at,
in ground or above ground.
well, if they do it in ground, they have to be able to contain the ashes. So they have to have a screw, so it's at least a 4-inch screw.
So I didn't know, cause I was going to cook on our end, with our, kids. I always thought that was really good work on it. Is that not true?
As far as.
Back there. No, it's in, ours is closed, it has a door, you just open, yeah. But I didn't know that we couldn't even burn at all.
Okay, so they don't need to contact fire department.
Yeah, if they contact us, we'll get them set up for us.
You guys are looking good. Okay.
We just need to
So you
know.
guys have to, and then you guys wanna call every 10 days?
Yeah, otherwise, well, if somebody calls in a smoker or fire chief or something, we might throw it clear out, put your fire out. Your handlers should do that.
Okay, so we need to
No,
know.
I mean, we get lookouts and everything else.
Yeah.
If you'll call, say they got smoke down on south end of town and.
Okay.
All right.
So with an inspection.
Then we'll have to make sure you get that in the paper, that if they want to use their fire pits, they have to contact the fire department, have them inspected.
Should we put an ad in to, yeah.
I think that would be a good idea.
So, these are what we have for burn barrels. Kinda, we have to follow along the same idea of this. That you would, yeah.
I had a picture.
So, I mean, you just gotta have a 10-foot clearance around it that with no combustibles or 4-inch trees, and then you're good to go.
Okay. All right,
The
thanks, Dennis.
visual is very misleading, it looks like more like 10 inches.
All right, let's, move on down. Including South S Street, 1 block from Lily Field, be into public works street sweeping routine.
Who's requesting that?
I don't know.
What?
Those requesting S Street being in our sweeping
Oh, the
routine.
same gentleman who wanted to know about the fire pits.
Oh, Bert.
Yeah, so he wanted
It's a
to,
county road, they have a sweeper, you should be talking to the county.
well, he said there's a little section that's city, and he was just wondering if you could put it in your.
It's a county road, they have a sweeper,
What if I said pretty please?
I don't think we can.
No, we
Can't do
It's
it?
not our street.
not our street.
It's a liability issue. It's a liability issue
Yes.
between the county and the
Okay,
city.
so I'll
I
call
mean,
him
the
back and
map
say,
looks like it does include a small section, that's why I'm confused.
All right,
well, if it's ours, then I can tell him
Absolutely.
that we'll put it in. If it's our county, then no. Okay.
all right, let's move on down to the NHMP resolution for FEMA.
Okay, so this is saying, you can read through it, but essentially, we're wanting to accept FEMA money pre and post disaster.
We've always been accepting.
You wanna accept that money?
Oh,
Okay, so,
Okay, I need a motion on this resolution 989.
I move we vote on resolution number 989, a resolution of the town of Lakeview, Lake County, Oregon, in the manner of adopting the town of Lakeview representation and updates to the Lake County multi-jurisdictional natural hazard mitigation plan.
Before we get, things, now that we got a second, let me have a quick discussion. This is a plan that needs to be updated every 5 years. It's been a couple of years in the making to get on this. I sit on the group because I'm the county planner and we'll also be adopting this at the county level, as will Paisley. This is every, I know Mark's been at some of our meetings, Mark's really, Ken Tessman's been at meetings before. Scott Hulley's been at meetings, Jeff's been at the meetings. This is a huge undertaking to update. And I, want to give thanks to all those that have been participating in the process. It's a huge thing and it wasn't just a simple, change the date. I mean, it's a lot of work that goes into these. Things are already, agreed to, but we have to adopt.
I will second that.
She didn't hear it.
Oh,
I was cutting you off.
sorry.
All right, motion made, second, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution to receive state funds, which is resolution number 987.
pretty self-explanatory. Do we wanna accept state funds?
We talked about this last
Yeah.
week ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
we did.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 987, a resolution declaring the town's election to receive state revenues.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Approve 'em.
if nothing else, then the meeting is adjourned at 5:10.